Good afternoon, guys. Good evening, wherever you are in the world. You might not know me, you might do. I don't care. Basically, I get dreams sometimes, and when I get dreams, I act on them if they feel like they're okay in it. So, recently, I had a dream that I should make a video talking about supply side economics in it. So, here I am talking about supply side economics. I don't really want to do it, but cool. Anyway, so let's get started. Supply side economics. Alright. I think that's the wrong way, but cool. Anyway, so when we talk about supply side economics, basically we need to understand on a very basic level what economics is. So economics is basically the distribution of resources. So how people kind of describe it in a very simple way is kind of infinite desires with finite resources. So like I want to do loads of different things, but I can only do it with what I have. Do you get it? Like I want to go to the moon, but you feel me? Like I ain't really got everything that I want to do to go to the moon, or maybe I don't have everything that I think I do. So I need to figure out how to get creative with my resources so that I can get to the moon. So that's basically what economics is in a very simple way. I don't know, you go to the shops, you might want to have £1 million, but you only have like 50. So you just got to make it work with the 50 that you have in it to make it look like 1 million or whatever. So that's what economics is. So in a very basic level, kind of, we have two concepts. We have supply and demand, and that's usually shown on a curve. I can't even remember. So usually supply is shown on the horizontal curve and demand is shown on the vertical curve, usually like that. Feel me? So demand up, supply to the right. So basically, when we talk about demand, we usually talk about kind of the people who want something. So like for example, when you go to, I know some Jordans drop, some Nike Jordans, Jordan 4s or whatever, you usually get loads of kids like lining up for it, lining up for the shoes. I don't get it, but they're doing it. So they line up for the shoes. The line goes all the way around the block, etc., etc. And maybe there might be like 200 pairs of shoes, but maybe there's 1,000 people who want a pair of shoes. Maybe there's even more online. So that's the kind of demand. And you kind of say from that demand is high. So if you've got loads of people trying to buy shoes, then the demand is high. You get it? So we'll probably say like the demand is like here. So the demand is here, then maybe the supply might have to kind of meet demand. You get it? But the thing is that what we find is really interesting is that kind of when we see the Nike shoes, you'd imagine intuitively that, if loads of people want the Nike shoes, then maybe they should be making loads of Nike shoes. So if loads of people want the Jordans, maybe they should be making loads of Jordans. This is where supply side economics comes in. Because in a simple world, if everybody wants it, then you're going to meet demand in it so you can get loads of money and stuff. But what happens is that usually people try to manage the supply of the shoes in order to control the demand. Do you get it? So in a very simple way, if I can limit the supply of shoes, I can increase or decrease the demand of the shoes. So if I have an unlimited supply of the shoes, people are going to think, it's around, it's everywhere. So they're not going to buy it as much. There's not going to be as much kind of like hype. The price and the demand and the quality of the shoe, maybe not the quality, but like you get like the sort of the overall kind of idea of the shoe is going to be a lot greater if I limit the supply, because the supply kind of says to people, there's only so many pairs of this shoe, so I really should have it. You get it? It's that whole thing of like FOMO. So in fact, that's what we can call supply side economics. We can basically just call it FOMO economics. That's what it is, literally, FOMO economics. So basically that's what it is. It's basically just controlling the supply so that the supply does not meet the demand. So FOMO economics. That's what supply side economics is. So basically, if we kind of understand it from that kind of perspective, what happens is that in a very, very big world where a lot of things are happening that we might not have control over, what happens is that we can kind of use this idea of FOMO to manipulate markets or to manipulate kind of different areas or resources in a way that allows us to have unintended consequences. So in a similar sense that if, for example, we want to increase the demand for Nike shoes, we might limit the supply of Nike shoes, therefore to increase the demand. In a similar sense, if we want to decrease the demand for something, then we might increase the supply of something. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we try and do. So for example, if you want to increase the supply of, if you want to increase the demand for, say for example, teachers, then you might decrease the supply of teachers. And how would we might do this? We might make it so that, say for example, this is actually a literal example that I'm using in it. So say for example, we might do this thing where we say, oh, we need more teachers in this country, but we're trying to tackle immigration at the same time. So in order to tackle immigration, we're going to say that, oh, the only teachers that are allowed in this country are teachers who maybe earn maybe say 40k a year, 45k a year. Most teachers earn about 30k a year. So if we raise it so that basically the incoming immigrants are only allowed to earn up to above 45k a year in terms of being a teacher, what that does is it sends an exogenous shock into the market, into the domestic market. So exogenous means outside. So it sends an exogenous shock into the domestic market. And then what happens is that the market then responds to the demands made from that shock. And what does that mean? Teachers get more money. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So there's a lot of ways in which kind of like supply side economics works. Another example might be, so an idea that I'm really interested in right now is called the universal basic income. So basically this idea that kind of through giving everybody money for no reason other than the fact they exist, just giving people money so that they don't have to actually work in order to survive or pay bills or live somewhere. Give people enough money for their basic necessities and see what they do after that. And a lot of people kind of say that when we do that, it actually makes the economy run a bit smoother. That it kind of increases the efficiency of the economy, because a lot of people are now going to be doing jobs where they actually feel like they have value rather than jobs that they feel like they need to do to survive. So a lot of people kind of say that through kind of doing the universal basic income, this can be basically a supply side shock into kind of maybe making the demand within the sort of job market a bit more efficient. Now, how does that happen? Basically, what happens is that through kind of giving people money, you have then impacted the supply of labour within a market, within the job market. So basically, labour means the people who are willing to work. So through kind of making it so that people don't have to actually work to survive, you have now kind of deliberately reduced the demand, the supply of workers in the market. So if you kind of think of supply side economics as fomo economics, do you get fear of missing out? What that says is to the employers, so the people who are actually kind of creating jobs for the market, they now have to create jobs at a more efficient way, and they have to be a bit more urgent. So remember how we were talking about the Nike shoes, how they limit the supply of shoes, and I was like, oh, same thing happening. If we then make it so that we limit the supply of workers within the market, it then means that the jobs have to actually reflect the level of quality that will actually make somebody say, you know what, let me actually get up and actually go and find a job. Because if I'm living at home and I can pay my bills, I may not have enough to do everything else, but I'm paying my bills and I don't need to work to survive. I'm cool. Do you get? So it's like, if I see a job I really like, if I see an opportunity I really like, if I see things that really speak to my soul and I feel like I can do a good job and I feel like I can be good at it, then I'll leave the house. You get? So what's happening now is that basically through, hopefully, when universal basic income eventually becomes a thing, which it should be becoming a thing, especially because of artificial intelligence coming in. A lot of jobs are going to be made redundant due to artificial intelligence as well, especially like administrative jobs and things like that. So if this happens as a consequence, a lot of people are going to have to kind of be paid essentially to kind of look for work. So like universal credit, job seekers allowance, that kind of stuff. But what's going to happen is that now it's going to be a thing of, because it's happening at such a fast rate, it's now creating more of an incentive for the markets to actually, or the governments to actually create incentives for people to actually upskill and find better work. So that means going to university, that means going back into education. And what happens with that is that a lot of people are going to need more time to actually look for jobs, more time to actually kind of work and study, more kind of financial support to be at home. So with all of this being said, we can even argue that maybe the impact of artificial intelligence into the job seekers market or the job market is also another form of FOMO. You get it? So just couple different thoughts that I've been thinking about. But yeah, that's me, man. Supply side economics, aka FOMO economics, innit? So yeah.